guess I'll go ahead and let's see.
Oh, hello, my name
Um,
is Maya, and I work in the Office of Admissions at UCCS. We are part of the CU system. We are a medium-sized campus. We have an undergraduate class of about 10,500 students, and we're about an hour south of Denver. We are located about 10 minutes from downtown Colorado Springs, Garden of the Gods, Manitou, all the fun things. There's all kinds of outdoor activities to do. It's a great area, and the community is even better, which is part of what I know a lot of students worry about when they think about going to college is community. And that is why we have Missy here to talk about that today.
okay, so we're gonna bring some big energy in because it's the end of the day and it's only Tuesday. So we're gonna have to really get some of this flow going. But I am Missy Sternattinger, program or actually the assistant director for first year experience and family connections. Just got a recent promotion, so I keep forgetting my new title. But we're here to talk to you today, or I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about kind of making that college decision, that college choice. But then also there's a really key component here that sometimes we don't really talk about, and that's how does your family, your guardians, your other support network, your parents, how do they fit into that college choice, and kind of what kind of conversations and what things that you need from them to be a part of this team go to college, team higher education, and how we can help to navigate that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to create your higher education team. You want to figure out who is going to be on my support network. You know, are you kind of doing it on your own? And that's okay. Please know that most colleges and universities have excellent support systems that would love to support you if you are a student doing this journey on your own. You know, do you have family members who are able to help be a member of your higher education team? Guardians, parents, other supporters, friends, peers, right? All of these people play a role into helping support you kind of make your decision for higher education, where to go, if you're going, what does this look like, what can I expect for support, et cetera, et cetera. And these are all things we're going to talk about today. The important thing to note is that this is your journey. You are going to be the student. You're going to be the person doing the work. You're going to be the person attending class. Fingers crossed, you better attend class. And all of the rest of your higher education team should be there to support you in this instance. And so it's so important that as you're building your team, just like any other sports team or any other team that you're on, it's good to talk about what the roles are, right? So, you know, you lead this team. It's team you. And it's your job to talk to every team member and say, this is kind of what I need from you. Or, you know, for instance, I need your help deciding what my finances might be. Or would you be willing to talk to me or listen when I'm trying to give some pro cons lists about places and decisions I need to make? Or, you know, for my grandma, it was, are you still going to send me cookies when I'm at college? Because I'm really going to miss that. And sure enough, for 5 years, she did. So it's having those conversations and being very clear from the beginning of what roles you want others to take in your journey can start the foundation for a very strong system of support from now until you graduate higher education and beyond. The next thing, once you've assembled your team, you need to know what your wants, your needs, your finances, your abilities, what all of this looks like. And so I would strongly suggest that you start to create not only your own list, but you task some of your key team members, if there are any, on how to create a list of what they perceive are the needs and the finances part, especially. But maybe it might be interesting to understand what they think your wants are too. It'd be really interesting. And I've had so many years where I've worked with families and students where the family maybe, or the parents might be upset or really advocating for something for the student. And then the student goes, but that's not what I want. Right. And so sometimes your biggest supporters may not be on the same page as you. And so it's really, really key that you are creating your list very, very early of, this is what I definitely need from an institution. I need to have this career path, this major. I need to be able to get these types of grants, or it needs to be affordable, or I need to be able to live at home while I'm attending school for a little bit. Those are all things that are very important to have, right? Those are things that can make or break your college career: finances, ability to commute or to stay on campus, in state, out of state, all of these decisions. And then we have our wants, right? And our wants sometimes can be needs as well. Like, do I want to go out of state? Yes. Do I need to be in state? Maybe. It really depends. But having these lists help us to really figure out what our search is going to look like and what a reasonable search looks like, right? Because any of us who work in higher education want to make sure that there's a good fit for you, whether that is here at UCCS, which is an amazing institution, or one that kind of fits your budget, your wants, your needs, your major, your career path. It's important for you to be able to articulate that, because as you're doing your college search, it helps you to organize your thoughts. It helps you to organize, yes, no, definitely, maybe I need to research more, et cetera, right? And then throughout all these needs, these wants, and all these other things that you're going to put down on your lists, it's more than just getting a degree. Higher education is this wonderful time and this wonderful opportunity for you to really explore yourself and think, okay, what are my values? What are the things that I want to work towards? What are my life goals? And it's a time of potentially great change in your life. And so you need to think about, is there the social aspects that I need? Does this institution have the support structures in place? For example, here at UCCS, we have hundreds of student activities that you can stay connected to if you want that social aspect or that leadership opportunity. We have wonderful residence halls that are focused on building community, getting to know students. For our commuters, we have commuter student support, right? So it's not just come here, take a class, go back home. We're very intentional about being able to connect you with peers, connect you with people who can support your career path, connect you with people who can support other goals that you might have. A great one is leadership, right? We have excellent leadership programs and departments that you can join in if you want to build up those skills. The other thing is support. So my office, we offer peer coaching to students. You can come in, I don't care if you're a 4.0 student or a student who's failing every class. You can come in and talk with one of my peer coaches. They're a student just like you, and you're able to connect with them and say, okay, this is what's going on in class. I'm not sure how to talk to my professor, or I'm doing okay, but I'm spending a lot of time studying. And then we help you to navigate that process and give you things like study skills or test taking skills, or walk you through having an email with your professor. So these are extra support resources that you may not think to look for in your college search that actually can be a great benefit to your college experience. So put those things on your list, do those research of your institutions. And that's a key thing that people don't think to look for. But it's so important, and it's so rich of an experience when you understand and see all of the things beyond the classroom that a university can provide. So in those question-making things, here are some key questions that I have seen over a decade of working in higher education. One of them is, what are classes like? For some students, they want to be all online. Okay, does that institution offer that? Some students want to be all in person. Does that institution offer that? What's interesting about UCCS is right now, there are some things that you have the ability to take online. There are certain classes you can take online if you want to kind of find that balance. There are some majors that require you to be fully in person, but the classes may be different. Some of the classes are really involved and put you right in the middle of the work. As you can see here in our nursing majors, they're right there working on that mannequin, right? They're putting in IVs. And I think in this picture, I think they might be prepping an airway tube. If you look in the middle of the slide in the bottom, that's in one of our engineering labs where they're literally getting down and dirty and working with the machines in order to be a part of the engineering program here. Other classes are very, kind of discussion based, and where they're talking about theories and what's going on, and having classroom based debates. And so what kind of classroom experience do you want? That's a key thing. UCCS has excellent also class sizes. There aren't that many classes that I'm aware of that are these huge rooms full of people, right? A lot of the classroom sizes are, what would you say, Maya, around 30-ish?
Our student to teacher ratio currently is 25-1. So and we do have like big lecture halls. Our largest holds 290 students, but that never, they usually cap it at 150. So
yep. I've been at that during I've presented during a full classroom, and it never felt full to me. I went to a very large institution where there were 500 people in a course. So, and that's one of the cool things about UCCS is that there's a smaller class size and that you're able to get to know your peers, get to know your professors a little bit more. Some students love that. And some students are like, put me in the big classroom, right? Some other things that you want to think about: how do you stay connected to home, right? One of the awesome things about UCCS, if you're a local student, is that you can still go home on the weekends, or you can be at home and come here for your classes and for your social connections and building up those extracurriculars. Some students really like that. A couple of other things is, how are you going to make friends? Are there things that are provided and things that are offered that interest you? So I would strongly suggest to any of you students who are considering UCCS, check out our Mountain Lion Connect. It has all of our student clubs, our organizations. You can see all the events that we're doing, which I think is actually really cool. I tell my students all the time, let's log in together and figure out what's going on if they're feeling like they're not connecting. You've really got to make sure that fit is really key and important. And then family members, in order to support them, go ahead and do your research as well. You can look on their websites, you can look through, you can say, oh, this is interesting. I think this might be of interest to you, and have that conversation, right? What are you willing to support? Maya, did you have your hand raised for a question or a comment?
Yeah, they just created Club Match on our Mountain Lion Connect that students can, even if you're not in our system, you can go on there and click your interests, and it'll show you like what clubs fit your interests, which is really cool.
Yeah, personally, I love crafting. I love to paint. You can probably see one of my paints that I'm painting, so I'm working on in the background. But there's a crafting club now, and there's a picnic club where people just picnic. Like, how cool! I wouldn't have thought about picnicking as a club, but now I'm like, I kind of want to go and visit and picnic with students. Why not? So there's a plethora of opportunities. You just have to be willing to check them out. And that's so key, right? There's so many things that you want to think about, and the social life and atmosphere on a campus is a huge one that students sometimes forget to think about. That idea of belonging. Could I belong here? I know that belonging is one of the things that we're most focused at UCCS, and making sure that students feel like they belong, feel like it's important for them to be a part of something. The other thing is, does it support my career path? Does it have the majors that I'm thinking about? Or is there a different major that still gets me to the career or outcome that I want? Or if you're not sure, if you're undecided and you're like, I don't know what I want to be, does it have the support system in place to help you figure that out? We have a career exploration and innovation center that they have an entire staff member. Her name's Bree. She's really cool. That does something called Design Your Life. And she helps you to work through that process to understand well, this is what I'm interested in. This is what I'm really good at. What careers could I make of that? And how can I make those careers happen at UCCS? That's a support thing I didn't even think about when I was going into higher education. But man, wouldn't that be amazing to have now, right? The other thing is the cost of attendance. So making sure that your and family support team you is so important that you help with this piece. It's having those conversations about family. If you're able to provide financial support, what might that look like? It's understanding the loan processes. I can tell you our financial aid office loves to have conversations with people prior to the start of the year, just to help people to navigate that financial aid process so they're better understanding of what to expect and what's going on. But then on the flip side, are there options to make things more affordable that students aren't thinking about? Are there grants? Are there scholarships that you can apply for? You'd be surprised all the criteria for scholarships that you can actually fit. Is there student employment on campus? And I'm going to do a quick little shout out because some of my faves are on this page. The girl in the yellow dress, her name is Bree. She worked for me for 2.5 years. The girl who's raising the bar was one of my coaches. Her name's Jessica. The two young ladies in the middle are Akila and Emily. They were my coaches for 3 years. So, and then the RA who's sitting on the right-hand side of the bed, who's talking to the students, that's Mackenzie, and she was an RA with me for, well, when I worked in housing for 2 years. So there are options for student employment that students don't even think about. And it's an excellent way to get yourself involved in campus in a different way, to earn some additional money. And then if you're a work study student, there's a lot of support that can go there as well. So definitely be looking at what kinds of student employment, what kinds of research that students can participate in. These are all things that should go on your list that maybe you're not thinking about. And then the number one thing that if I could tell you, if you're not sure about something, ask us. We are not just here to serve students once they set foot on our campus. I love it when prospective students come and reach out to me and ask me about my office. I adore when family members come and reach out to Family Connections for support. And to talk a little bit about Family Connections is the other half of my office. And when you're having that team student meeting, it's a really important thing to think about what your role is and shifting. If you've been in the traditional parental style role for a student, you have to be very cognizant that that's going to shift and morph now. Your student is the independent adult who's attending this institution. And so if I could give my best advice is to support them in navigating that on their own. Have the student ask the questions of staff members. Have the student do their research. Have the student fill out all their applications. Their housing application should be filled out by the student. Their admissions application should be filled out by the student. The FAFSA should be filled out by the student with your support. I will say FAFSA for families who aren't ready, make sure to have your tax returns kind of ready for that. That's one of the things that families are like, oh gosh, I wasn't prepared for that. Figure out what you need to do to support your student in completing those tasks and those roles. If you do find yourself as a member of team support, that you have questions, you're feeling very strongly that you want to make these connections, find the family office on your campus. For ours, it's Family Connections. Pretty easy we connect to the family. We made it very simple. We just changed our name. And so that's your outlet. That is your connection, that if you have questions, if you're not sure about something, or your student might need a little bit of extra support in this area, that's the office for you. That's the office for you to contact. We are here. We will talk with you forever if you'd like, to better support you supporting your student. I've added my contact information for both of our offices below. But other than that, it's time we've got about 8 minutes plus minus a little bit more for you to ask your questions. Open up Q&A. So come on, my friends, whatever questions you have, we're here to answer them. I can talk about some recent questions I had while we're waiting for others to formulate their own questions. So the other part of my office support is what's called first generation students. So what we define first generation as is if neither of your parents have received a four-year degree in the US, right? So that makes you a first generation student. It doesn't matter if an older sibling has completed college or completed higher education, you're still in that first generation to be working towards a four-year degree. I myself am a first generation college student, so that makes it really fun because I'm able to connect and understand that experience a little bit better than others might. And I can tell you that for being a member of a first generation family, sometimes there's that kind of disconnect of a lack of experience that might impact the entire college conversation. But I want to be very clear, first generation families, you have a lot of love on these campuses. I manage our First to Go program, which is for first generation students, and we love it when first generation families come and ask questions. There are no questions too silly. And we love spending all day on the phone, being able to help you guide and navigate and get those connections happening. We also will connect you to other people on campus. At UCCS, one of the great things is that because we're a smaller campus, I know most of the staff members on a first name basis. So when I say, oh, hey, talk to Steven, he's my friend in this department, he really is my friend in this department. Or if you have questions about this, you should probably talk to Maya admissions. Maya and I work together on the webinar right now. And so these offices, when we do warm connections, we're there to support you from the moment you call us until it's resolved. And trust me, if we have the ability and it doesn't break privacy, we're following up with our friends and being like, hey, did we ever like follow up with that family or that parent or that connection or that student? And were we able to help them? And what was the answer? So the next time it happens, how can we help them and better support them? So especially for my first gen families, please get involved and stay connected. I know it can be very at times overwhelming because it's all new, but we're here to support you.
Do we have any questions before we wrap things up for Missy or for myself? All right. Well, thank you so much for everyone tuning in to our webinar tonight, or this evening, I guess. And if you have any questions, you know where to find us. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Bye.